All right, welcome back to another video. Today we're actually going to try to recreate some elements that we saw in the GTA 6 trailer number 2. I did this for the first trailer. Now we're taking on trailer 2, as well as one of many screenshots that Rockstar released of the game. We're going to explore a lot of parts of Miami, a lot of parts of Miami Beach, but today we're actually starting off our video in a smaller town north of Miami. Actually, we're an hour and a half north of Miami in the town of Clewiston, Florida. This is just south of Lake Okeechobee, and it is the perfect candidate for what is called Ambrosia, one of the many cities in the game. We saw it featured on the Rockstar website. We saw some screenshots of Ambrosia. We saw one of those storage tanks with the American flag draped on it. We saw smokestacks in the background. We saw a biker gang. We saw controlled burns and some unique power lines that you don't normally see around larger cities. What's interesting is on the way here, I saw all of those. I saw a biker gang driving up US 27, which is the highway that gets you out of South Florida and into this region of Lake Okeechobee. We saw those really cool power lines that you don't really see around big cities. And we also saw a couple of controlled burns. By the way, I'm wearing a Miami Dolphins t-shirt because in the game we do see there is a sports team, a football team called the Manatees. In real life, we all know that is the Dolphins. There's also the Narcos sports team, which we'll talk about later in the video. I am standing just outside of the US Sugar Refinery. That is that tower we see in the screenshot from GTA 6 with the American flag over it. That is it in real life. It is just plain old concrete. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and then show you guys some views from above because I think it looks really cool. Gives you a sense of scale for this small town. We can see those stacks right over there. We can see there's a little bit of smoke coming out from there. These tanks as well right over here, also pictured in the game right next to the larger tank. Clewiston, Florida is a town of 7,300 people. It really is a small town, and its history is deeply rooted in the sugar industry. It's actually known as America's sweetest town. And so we see here what is called US Sugar Refinery. In the game, it is called Allied Crystal Sugar Refinery. There are various parts of this town that have sugar in the name, like Sugarland Park, Sugarcane Field, the Sugar Express, which is a touristy train ride around the area. And they actually have an annual Clewiston Sugar Festival, which just passed in March. If we see on Rockstar's website, we see a description for Ambrosia, which is, in the heart of Leonida, American industry and old school values still reign supreme, whatever the cost. The Allied Crystal Sugar Refinery provides the jobs, while the local biker gang provides almost everything else. So that pretty much aligns with everything we've seen so far: the biker gangs, the controlled burns in the screenshot, the smokestacks, the storage tank right over here, the massive sugar plant, and the fact that this town's history is deeply rooted in the sugar industry. So this is the perfect candidate for Ambrosia. Okay, so we are now in Miami Beach. We're actually going to try and recreate a screenshot that they posted of GTA 6 along with the trailer. And so I'm going to throw it up on screen now. You guys are watching. That is Collins Avenue at the foreground, which you can see some kind of police operation there, somebody surrendering, and a bunch of cops are around, one with a shotgun. We also see a metro bus passing by, and then we see a Hotel Valletta just across the street. That hotel is this one right over here. I'm going to get a little lower so you guys can see. That is this hotel in real life, and you can see that kind of cutout right there that goes around the what's called Indian Creek in real life. The hotel building in the background is right there. We do see a basketball court, so a lot of people get excited because we're going to be able to play basketball, potentially other sports. If I pan to my left, it should be right here, but it is not. I will show you exactly where that is. We're gonna have to go down a little bit south. Again, Rockstar moves things around, so no surprise here. We can see that basketball court right over here. This is the W Hotel in South Beach. There you go. You can see some courts there, tennis courts and a basketball court, a half court at least. And this building, I want to talk about this building because there are a lot of signs as a local that I can see when more or less Rockstar came to visit and survey the area. This building right here was constructed in 2021. So this did not exist around the time that Rockstar came. And so in that screenshot, we actually see that it is just the street right next to it. This street right here is immediately behind Hotel Gates right there at the center of your screen. Another feature that I noticed that lets me know that they came I guess pre-pandemic in this case, is if we zoom in on that screenshot over on that street on the left, we can see some artwork on the face of a building, on the facade, and sort of a gap underneath it, and then some water along that edge of the building. So this is more or less where that would be in the game. It is on that street. there's now a new building that just got constructed, still under construction. We'd have to go all the way over here to see that building. That is this building right at the center of your screen. You can see all the glass windows at the top. It matches the one in the screenshot, but we don't see artwork and we see it closed off at the bottom. This gap was actually closed off around early 2017. So it lets you know, at least for this specific street, when Rockstar looked at it. Another screenshot I want to show you guys, it is again at the W Hotel. That screenshot you're seeing right now, that is one of the hotel balconies that overlooks this really distinctly looking pool. That is the W Hotel pool in real life. We can see that cut out. It doesn't have that round bulb in the middle, but all the other shapes around it do match up. By the way, that area we just did was taken in front of this building. That's the new build from 2021. We were on the other side. Those basketball courts are just on the other side of this building right over here. That is where we saw them standing on the balcony on the ocean facing side. Just because I like to tie things up with the first trailer. If you guys remember when she was on a hotel balcony, kind of twirling around with her hair flying, that was at, and we talked about this in the first video, that was at the Fontainebleau, which is that tower right there. Okay, so I just had to look at the trailer again. This is what I was talking about. You guys have all seen it. If we zoom in on the bottom left, we see what looks like that basketball court. And this would be the W South Beach Hotel. We got around on the other side and we saw the balcony and the pool. We also see the Metro bus right over here, and the road is actually curving, which if we see the screenshot from GTA 6, we see that same bus. The road is starting to curve, and then we see that building over here with the basketball court. This next spot is going to pass really fast because it's actually the part where they're driving in the game on the highway. You see that plane passing by, and you see a couple of highway signs and some buildings to the right. We can see a Southwest 8th Street sign over here. In the game, I guess it's Southwest 9th Avenue. You can see US 1 and Biscayne Boulevard, and 8th Street to exit right over here. Notice on the right, we're not seeing any of those buildings. There's 3 buildings with openings at the top, very distinct buildings, and we're not really seeing 3 of those. Interesting enough, those buildings on the side of the highway there in what appears to be the downtown area of the game is nowhere near the downtown area in real life. We have to come down further south. We're still in Miami, but we're in the Coconut Grove neighborhood, away from the highway, away from the downtown area. And those towers are actually right behind me. You can see them right there. You can see at least 2 of them there with the opening at the top that we see in the game. We're now in Little Haiti. There used to be a mural here with a Haitian flag, and that is what Rockstar is basing this part of the game off of, where you see people getting arrested by Miami police or Vice City police in the game. Since it is unfortunately covered up, we're gonna have to go back in time to Google Street View, where you'll see the Haitian flag was here. There was a face as well on the mural, similar to in the trailer. The reason why I know this is the exact area inspired by Rockstar for the game is because we see a copyright notice in real life and in the game where it says, warning, copyright, no video without permission or without authorization, and then a phone number to call. That is in real life as well as in the game. However, the one thing that is completely different in the game is the fact that we see the Metro rail passing by in the background. That does not occur in real life. It does not pass by Little Haiti, but it's good to know that at least they're adding not only the Metro Mover, which stays in downtown, but also the Metro rail. However, not far from where we just were at that covered up wall, we have another Haitian flag over there. Nothing that says a warning about taking videos or photos. So this, I don't think, was the one that Rockstar looked at for inspiration. All right, we are now on Beautiful Ocean Drive, of course featured in GTA 6. We saw that in the first trailer, and of course it continues in the second trailer. There was a shot in the trailer showing several people posing for a photo, some people sitting outside of a car window, and some sports cars in the background. They are on Ocean Drive. You can see the Dominion Hotel as well, which today is known as the Cardozo Hotel. However, it does show it like if it's on this corner, and then we see the building beside it with the porthole windows. That is the Tides Hotel, which in real life is that really big hotel over there. On our way over there, I want to show you guys the sidewalk that they're taking a picture on would be this side, and it shows like there's a street crossing right beside them, but in real life it's continuous all the way on the east side of Ocean Drive. The only way to cross is to go towards that hotel. All right, we're just outside of the Tides Hotel. You can see those distinct porthole windows visible in the game. And of course, as I mentioned in the game, Tides is here. The Meaning Hotel is somewhere immediately next to it. And then of course there's a crossing, but that is not the case in real life. You can see the Cardozo Hotel with the orange umbrellas right over there. That's where the Dominion Hotel is. Hey, we can see one of the iguanas in the Florida Keys in the game. Just happened to pass one. They do get a lot larger, as is visible in the game. All right, we're now on the sands of Miami Beach. You can see how wide and expansive this beach is. It gets a little thinner as you get further north on the coastline. And it's actually in one of the screenshots released by Rockstar where we see someone sunbathing on the beach right next to one of the colorful lifeguard stands, of which we have so many along the coastline. You can see one way over there. We're gonna get a little closer so you guys can take a look. But it is one of our more iconic, picturesque lifeguard stands that a lot of people like to take pictures with. So it's a no-brainer that they're gonna incorporate that into the game. Here's something iconic that is no doubt gonna be in GTA 6. This is the famous Miami Beach thermometer slash date, a monolith. A lot of people like taking pictures here, especially when it gets really hot, pops over 100 degrees. No doubt you'll be able to take a selfie with this in GTA 6, right in front of the breakwater, which is the boardwalk in GTA 6. We can see this is where they were dancing on top of what is today known as the Clewister Hotel slash bar. We see some dancers in the trailer on this area right here on the rooftop. We see some on a circular kind of roof, which is that one right over there above the bar. In this shot, this is a screenshot released by Rockstar. We see the Ocean View Hotel, if you guys remember that from back in the day. That is actually the Clewister today. So that bar area I showed you with the dancers on top, that was an extension of the hotel, which is just in front of us. We see that hotel next to it with the vertical super art deco font. That is the Congress Hotel in real life. There is a hotel between it in real life. In the game, they are side by side. And Hotel Dixon is all the way at the end, which is the Hotel Victor. This next spot we are about to check out, not only did I have to wait for it to turn dark, but we have to bring out the drone because you may or may not have recognized already where I'm going with this. The Adrian Arch Center Performing Arts Center of Miami is front and center in one of the screenshots released by Rockstar. Let's check out if the placement matches up with real life. We are in the air and we can see the Adrian Arch Center right below us. Comparing it to that photograph, we'd have to actually zoom out quite a bit. However, we do have a building that is obstructing our view on the left, so that is why I'm staying a little bit more towards the right. We can see that straight ahead is that dome over there. That's the planetarium. The Frost Museum of Science is over there. The Perez Art Museum Miami is right behind it on the left. In the game, the Kaseya Center, the arena where the Miami Heat play, is in that spot. The actual location of the Kaseya Center is off to the right. We also see the Ferris Wheel in the game. According to that screenshot, it is right behind the arena to the left in the actual game. One thing missing, you may have noticed, these arches were built several years ago, or construction started several years ago, and they're still under construction. So we see that out of the ground. It is not in the game according to the trailer, according to the screenshots. The sports team, by the way, instead of the Miami Heat, we have the Narcos. That is where they will be playing. You'll probably be able to attend a basketball game of some sort or just go inside and create some havoc. We are now inside of that Ferris wheel that you saw in the background there. Imagine boarding it in the game and just catching a nice ride, catching views of Vice City and the port, which is right over here. You can see a Carnival cruise off in the distance, and Vice Beach, which is Miami Beach. That's those towers all the way in the back. So you'll be able to catch views of all of these nearby areas just by getting on the Ferris wheel. This is, by the way, what we can see at the back of that photograph, right by the arena, which is over there. You zoom in. That's where the Narcos will play. If we look way over there from this Ferris wheel, we can see that tower I mentioned earlier that was in the first trailer. It gives you a sense of scale of how far away things are in real life compared to the game. Okay, we are now in the center of the downtown area. This is where a couple of shots, not just in the screenshots, but in the actual trailer, the second trailer, I noticed some buildings that are in existence mainly because they were built in the 80s, so obviously they're going to be there and they're landmarks here. So I want to point out a few of them before we actually dive into the trailer and its placement. So the Intercontinental right over there, those two buildings beside it, that city building, the really tall building, and this one right over here. These are the buildings I want to focus on. For this next part, we're actually standing in a spot that in the trailer, it's not accurate at all. It actually caught me by surprise because they're showing a highway. You can see a truck, someone trying to steal something, possibly that vehicle in the back. If you see the buildings to the left, you got a camo building illuminated by purple lights on the left. The one after has a horizontal windows, a blocky kind of skyscraper. The tallest of the bunch is further down. And then to the right, you can see that skyscraper with a parking garage and some vertical white lines and some lighting around it. That is where I am standing right now, and you can see it is simply just a road and a parking lot. It is not a highway at all. And if we turn around, we can see there is a massive yacht behind us and what is actually the bay. So there is absolutely no highway or road that continues into the water as is depicted in GTA 6. One cool thing that I like Rockstar is doing is changing things up so they're not exactly identical to the real life thing. And that keeps us all surprised when we actually play the game. And just in case that nighttime shot was a bit difficult to see, here's that same exact spot during the daytime. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. That was GTA 6 Trailer 2 in real life. Feel free to check out my other GTA 6 videos. I do have a playlist on it. Trailer 1, and even before then with the leaks, I tried to go and see it in real life and try to match it up with the in-game footage. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell button, you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And this is not the only thing I'm going to do for GTA related content as far as recreating stuff from the game, from the trailer, from the screenshots we get. Even if we get new content, you know, I'll be back outside and try to match it with the real life thing. So I'll catch you guys in the next video.